Hello, it's Terry from Danu's Irish Herb Garden, and I've just popped into the polytunnel to harvest some lavender, and it is covered in bees, which is a really good thing to see. There's about 7 or 8 bees. In fact, I can't count them because they're moving so quickly. And oh, there's lots on this lavender bush as well. They're so lovely. Look at them. It's like Central Station for bees. So I've come to harvest the lavender, which I feel a little bit guilty about doing because the bees are having such a great time on it. And I just thought I might talk about the lavender and the Californian Poppy and the Flora and the lemon balm and St. Johnswort, which is over there, because they're all nervines. They're all herbs that help relieve stress, anxiety, and help you to recover from sleeplessness. So if we just start with the lavender, because it's such a well-known herb, lots of people use lavender to help them get to sleep. They use the essential oil and they might put a little drop on their pillow. You can also infuse lavender in oil. I've done one here already, and I'm leaving it to be solar infused in the polytunnel because it gets so much warmth and sunshine. So all the lavender flowers that I picked earlier are here in the oil. So that's quite different to essential oil. So lavender is very good for relaxing the body. It's an antispasmodic, so it helps you to relax. It's also very good for nervous headaches. If you rub some of the oil onto your temples, even if you were just to smell the flowers, it would be beneficial. So you can put it in your bath, you can make body creams with it, you can drink it as a tea to help get a good night's sleep as well. It's a pain reliever. So it's an antispasmodic, a pain reliever, and it's going to relieve feelings of stress and anxiety. So it's a really lovely herb to grow in your garden, and it's quite common in gardens, as is Californian Poppy. Look, beautiful cups of gold. I mean, it's just stunning. And this is Californian Poppy. Again, it's what's called a sedative or a hypnotic, so it's going to help you with sleep. It's very good, very gentle for children who are a bit fractious and they won't go to bed when they're supposed to, and they get very irritable because they go past it, you know, when they just can't get to sleep. So again, it's also a pain reliever, and it's an antispasmodic. It's going to relieve stress and tension as well. And, you know, let's be honest, lots of people at the moment are feeling a little bit stressed. They're being caged in, they're being locked down, and nobody really knows what's going to happen from one day to the next. So I suppose there is a lot of feeling of anxiety. So these are lovely remedies to help just take the edge off that nervousness. So this is Flora. It's an exotic South American plant, and I'm really lucky because a friend who was working at Irish Seed Savers gifted me this plant. In fact, it was the plant over there which is self-seeded over here. And this is really the best plant for sleep problems. If you have, because of stress or your mind is overstimulated, if you've got into a bad habit of watching too much TV late at night, or you're on the computer and then you find that you can't get to sleep, Flora is amazing for readjusting and resetting your sleep patterns. It's it doesn't make you drowsy the next day. When you wake up the next day, you'll have had a good night's sleep and you'll be refreshed. So it's not habit forming and it doesn't leave you drowsy, but it's really, really very good for sleep problems. So normally you harvest the leaves. A lot of herbalists would say that the active constituents are in the leaves, but I think there's a lot of energetic qualities in the flowers as well. So I just take all of it, and it's very, very generous. There's always a lot of it, and it just keeps coming the more you cut it. So it's a wonderful plant. Now, it won't grow outside, or if it does, it won't last very long because of our climate. It thrives here in the polytunnel. So even if you don't have a polytunnel, you could give it a try if you have a sheltered garden. And the flowers are amazing because they're kind of like, I don't know, they're like a spaceship or some really incredibly fancy dessert with that beautiful lime green and purple. It makes me think of, I don't know, exotic fruits. In fact, it does make passion fruit, if you've ever tried that. We did get a passion fruit from it once. I was talking about the lavender and I forgot to mention it is a mild antidepressant, and the same with St. Johnswort. St. Johnswort is a mild antidepressant as well, very much renowned for the way it helps people with SAD, seasonal affect disorder, during the dark times of the year. But it also does many other things. It's a wonderful nervine, so it will lift the spirits, it will really open up your heart and your mind to the joy of light, and it is a wonderful plant for burns and for wounds. So I've really caught the sun and I'm a little bit sore, so I'm going to use some of the oil to relieve the burn. And you may hear that you shouldn't use St. Johnswort when you're out in the sunshine because it can create photosensitivity on the skin. But I think that tends to be more when you buy synthetic St. Johnswort, or if you get synthetic St. Johnswort on prescription. But if you make your own St. Johnswort infused oil, it's going to be quite safe to use outside, and I'll be using it anyway. So I'm going to harvest some of this to put in my oil. I'm just taking the tops, so it's not just the flowers, it's the flowering tops. So look, there's some little buds, I can take those as well. I have more of this growing outside in 2 places, so it's a bit behind this plant because this plant is here in the polytunnel, so it gets the advantage of extra heat and warmth. So I'll just pop those. I've got 2 jars infusing in oil there, so I'm just going to add these into them. And I have tinctures made, and I will make tinctures as well as the summer goes on, and tea, because you know you can have all the herbs I'm talking about today. You can dry them and make them into tea. You can make them tea with them fresh as well. So they're very versatile. But the St. Johnswort oil is a really good plant to infuse in oil for pain relief, for muscle aches, and for burns. And for any wounds as well. You know, you could make a salve and put it onto wounds. In the Middle Ages, it was a really favourite plant with warriors and crusaders and people who were getting sword injuries. So that tells you just how powerful and potent it is for wounds. You can see there's a lot of Californian poppy in here, just to go back to that, because it's self-seeded, as did the Flora, as did the mullein here, these 2 beautiful candlesticks of mullein. And strangely enough, just as I'm talking about nervine herbs, mullein flowers are brilliant for nerve pain in the ears. So for earache, you infuse these little yellow flowers in oil for a few weeks, and then you would drop a couple of drops of that oil into the ears. So it's quite an interesting little garden that's developing in here, that it's all becoming all very much geared towards nerve troubles. And you know, when we talk about nerves, stress, anxiety, sleeplessness, and digestive upsets, because you know, if you have if you're very nervous and uptight and anxious, your stomach stops and you can end up with digestive disorders. So lemon balm is going to soothe your nerves, it's going to relax your muscles, it's going to stop those spasms of tension, and it's also going to help improve your digestion for those very same reasons. So this would be helpful for someone who always gets butterflies in their tummy before an interview, say, or before an important event. It's also just so delicious. You'd want to just drink it as tea anyway. So I'm going to take quite a bit of this. And I have a lot of it outside as well. It's completely different though. Outside it is so tough because of the wind. This is a bit of a wussy plant in here because it's so sheltered and it's made it a little bit more delicate, shall we say. But I'm sure it's going to be just as effective with its delicious lemon sherbet taste. So if you have a garden, you can grow all of these herbs that I've been talking about. If you have only a window box, you can certainly get lavender in a pot, you can get lemon balm in a pot, you can maybe even get Californian Poppy in a little pot. So don't feel that there isn't any help out there for you. There is a lot of help from these wonderful plants. And even if you're not feeling anxious or worried about anything, just the sight, the colours are just a wonderful pick-me-ups anyway. The bright golden yellow, the beautiful golden orange, the vivid purple, they're so beautiful together and they're so wonderfully uplifting just to feast your eyes on them. I'm going to harvest the rest of my plants before I go back to the house. So I'll say bye for now, and I hope you have a wonderful bank holiday weekend. And have a look at the website. The details are below, and please subscribe. Thanks.